Hey guys, so many of you are going to be noticing this week that MAC is finally launching some of their pigments at counters, and this means that for the first time customers who shop at places like Macy's and Nordstrom will be getting the opportunity to see MAC pigments in person, play around with them, and find out a little bit about what they're all about. Pigments are actually really cool, but they can also be kind of intimidating to someone who's not used to them, so I thought that this would be a great time to go through all of the colors that they're going to be launching this week. I have all of them but three, and give you kind of a crash course in what pigments are and a variety of the different ways that you can use them, because they are a lot more than just a powdered eyeshadow and a little plastic container. So with that, let's go ahead and get started and go through the colors that are going to be coming out this week. First we have Vanilla, which I would call a very frosted, creamy off-white. And then there's Naked, which is a very pale tan with a bit of a shimmer to it. Kitschmas, which is verging on lilac in the container, but it's mostly just a whole lot of frost. Fuchsia, which is a very frosty, hot pink fuchsia color. Rose, which is a very glittery, flaky rose pigment with a lot of gold reflex in it. This one has a texture that's kind of like a luster eyeshadow. It's a little bit messy and kind of flaky with a lot of fallout if you were to try and apply it as an eyeshadow. Then there's Tan, which is a pinkish tan gold. I would call this sort of a dirty rosy gold color. Then Melon, which is like a light apricot gold. This also has the same sort of chunky luster texture that rose pigment does. And then Copper Sparkle, which is a metallic copper. Then there's two metal pigments. There's Rose Gold, which is a mid-tone pink-based gold, and Gold, which is a true green-based gold. Metal pigments are very different than the other pigments in that the texture is very fine. It's very finely milled. It's very powdery. It melts into the skin really well, but because it's so finely milled, it can make a big mess if you're not careful. So just kind of be aware of that. Then there's Golden Lemon, which I would call a candy cartoon gold. It's very yellow, but it's kind of a bright light butterscotch, not a real kind of banana yellow. Then Old Gold, which is a lighter version of Rose Gold, I think, with a bit of a green duochrome to it. And then Golden Olive, which is like a darkish green with a gold overtone. And then finally, out of the golds, because there's a lot of them, we've got Teal, which is a very true blue teal. It's more on the blue side of teal than the green side. Then Cornflower, which I would call a mid-tone blue with a little bit of a pink to it. Blue Brown, which is a red-brown with blue duochrome. If you have club eyeshadow, or if you've seen it, this is very similar. It's just a pigment version, so it's a lot more pigmented. Then Violet, which is a bright mid-tone violet color. Then Grape, which is a dark plum. It's a very deep purple, but it's still visibly purple. It's not at all black. And then Dark Soul, which I think is a pigmented version of Black Tide. If you have Cinderfella from the Style Black collection, it's very similar. It's just sort of a And then there's three neons, and these ones I don't have. There's Full Force Violet, Magenta Madness, and Neon Orange, and those are all matte textures. And then there's two pigments that are going to be launching at MAC stores only. There's Antique Green and Bright Fuchsia. If you get a chance to check them out, I would definitely recommend checking out Bright Fuchsia, which is this guy right here. And the camera's not going to do it justice, but this is like azalea blush. This is really pretty. Alright, so the most important thing to think about, I think, when you're looking at pigments and you're going to be choosing some, is texture, then color. Because texture will go a long way in either helping or hindering whatever it is that you want to do with the pigments. The most difficult textures to work with, hands down, are going to be the matte textures, and those are the three neons that are coming out. You're going to be attracted to the color in the container if you at all like things that are really bright and pop. The thing with matte textures is they generally don't really work well on their own. You kind of have to use them with other things to get them to work well with what you're doing. A lot of pigments you can get a more vibrant color if you apply them wet, and they'll last longer if you apply them wet, but matte textures don't really respond well to that. Anyone who's worked with something like Marine Ultra, which is a really pretty bright blue in the jar, you get it wet to use it with anything and it turns into a very dull navy color. And that's what all of these do. The fluorescent colors that you're going to see this week, when you get them wet and try and put them on the skin, they lose their sort of fluorescent quality and they just kind of deepen and dull down. If you do want to keep that really bright, vibrant color, one of the tricks that I've found that works really well is to use them over a white eye pencil. All right, now that we've got that out of the way, let's quickly talk about which ones are eye safe and lip safe and not. When you buy a pigment, you're going to get this little piece of paper in the box that you buy it in, and it's going to tell you which ones aren't eye safe, which ones aren't lip safe, etc. I'm going to read through the list real quick so we know which ones they are. So, not for use around the lip or eye area are Basic Red, Genuine Orange, Grape, Green Space, and Processed Magenta. Now, some of these colors aren't going to be launching this week, so you don't have to worry about it, but I'm just going to read the list anyway. And then not to be used around the lip area are Antique Green, Black, Chartreuse, Deep Brown, Emerald Green, High Def Cyan, Landscape Green, Marine Ultra, Naval Blue, Platinum, Primary Yellow, Pure White, Rich Purple, Silver, Steel Blue, True Chartreuse, and White Gold. Not to be used around the eye area are Acid Orange, Bright Fuchsia, Electric Coral, Full Force Violet, Magenta Madness, Neo Orange, Red Electric, Rocket Yellow, and Ruby Red. That's the information there. It's really, really important information to have. I find it very useful for doing that. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about some of the things that you can do with pigments, because you can do all kinds of things with them. Now, yes, you can use them as an eyeshadow. It's really common. A lot of people use them as an eyeshadow. Some people like to apply them wet when you use them as an eyeshadow, and that just means getting your brush wet with something and putting the pigment on, and it will help the color pop a little bit more, and it will also help it to last a lot longer. There's a variety of ways that you can apply them wet. You can, if you want, just use something like Fix Plus, spray your brush, and dip it in the pigment and then put it on your eyes, and that's fine. You can also use She-Laq by Benefit. That would work really, really well. And then there's other products. MAC makes a water-based mixing medium, which is this guy right here. You can also make this, though. This is mostly water and glycerin. Encore has, I think it's actually a pretty old video, but it's a really cool video. It's really helpful on how to make your own mixing medium. And I think that it's 3 parts water to 1 part glycerin. And glycerin, if you want to make your own, is this stuff right here. You can get this at any drugstore. This is 6 ounces or 177 milliliters. I think I paid like $6 for it, so it's quite cheap. You can also, if you don't have this and you don't have glycerin, use this. This is Liquid Astroglide. Astroglide and MAC's mixing medium actually share the same key ingredients. Both of them, the first ingredient is water. The second ingredient is glycerin. The next ingredient in this is propylene glycol, and the next ingredient in this is butylene glycol, I believe. Some kind of glycol. Incidentally, too, a fun fact for you, the glycol is actually what's responsible for the sweet taste that you get when you get this in your mouth. So this also has a bit of a sweet taste to it. I wouldn't recommend eating it because this is kind of nasty too, but just so you know, when you taste this and it's kind of sweet, I know you have because you are a you know, that's cool. It's all good. My favorite thing to do with pigments, personally, is making lip colors. And so I would recommend this week, if you're going to be out picking up a couple pigments, to pick this up. This is MAC's Clear Gloss Texture. I do believe that they sell this at counters. If not, in a pinch, you want to get this. This is their clear lipstick, lip conditioner stuff. I don't know, what's it called? Lip treatment. Lip conditioner too, I think is what it's called. Anything that is basically clear and you can put on your lips and it's creamy, you can use to mix with pigments. You can also use regular MAC lip glosses. This one is Russian Red, and I put Kitschmiss pigment on top of this, and I got a really cool bright red with a little bit of a lilac duochrome to it. It was really, really interesting. The next thing that you could do if you wanted to have fun is get yourself some clear nail lacquer. You can see I've done it here. You just mix a little bit of pigment with a little bit of this, and you've got fun, cool, custom nail polish. I would really, really urge you to not look at these things as an eyeshadow or as a lip color, but instead look at them as just a powdered color concentrate, because you can mix these with just about anything and make all kinds of really, really, really cool stuff. So that's all. I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you soon. Take care. Drive safe.